Hello everybody, Night Train Piper here, and tonight I'm going to be doing a review of some tobacco I just picked up. I was in the Santa Clarita area of California, which is a little north of Los Angeles, and I saw this tobacco, and I thought it sounded interesting, and now I can't find the tin. Where is the tin? And the tin is here. So it's called Jackalope, and this is a blend by Chris Morgan. So I picked this up at a really small tobacco shop called Cigars and More. It's along Copper Hill Drive. Interesting thing about this town. So there's a Cigars and More in Santa Clarita, and there's one in Valencia. Both of them are called Cigars and More, but they're completely different shops. One of them has just cigars and a little bit of pipe tobacco, and the other one pretty much is a vape shop with a few cigars. So make sure you get the right one if you head up there along Copper Hill Drive. So I'm going to be smoking it today in my pipe from St. Claude. This is a chap, or a chap, you could call it, pipe. And this is a great little billiard straight pipe with a nice big bowl. I have a little trouble with Virginia. Sometimes they heat up a little bit on me, and so I have trouble with ton bite sometimes with the Virginias. And my theory is, especially flakes too, and I expect this to sort of act like a flake based on what I'm reading on it. My theory is that this gives them a little more room to breathe, and the heat can dissipate a little better in this bowl. So I found it works really well for me for Virginias. So this tobacco is called a Virginia plug. It's a stoved Virginia plug. So stoving is just heating the tobacco. And I was reading up on it a little bit. So they can stove it many ways. Most of the actual methods are proprietary, and unless you work there, you aren't going to know what it is for sure. So it can be anything from sticking it in a big oven to a steam type of process, which makes it sort of like a Cavendish, or it can be in a sort of a large tumbler thing that heats it up. There's lots of online ways that I've seen about stoving your own Virginias too. So, but it's kind of an interesting process, and that's another thing I'm a little concerned about with it, because of its just Virginia's tendency to bite me. So I'm hoping that the big pipe will counterbalance any potential for it to bite. So let me open this up. All right, second of technical difficulties there. So I'm going to use my pipe tool. I'm going to try to use my pipe tool to open this. Normally I would use a screwdriver for this, because the slot is just a little too small to stick this pipe tool in there. But I'm a little determined tonight to try this. So, all right, I think I heard a little wisp of air. Yep, I did. All right, there's the lid, and so it says Virginia plug. Let's see what it is. Oh, okay, so it's got a plastic wrapping around it in addition to the paper. There's a little plastic sort of puck. It's a, wow, ooh, oh goodness. Okay, that smells nice. That smells really nice. Look at that brownie. Woo! It's a brownie. And so this sucker is, oh, it's good enough to eat. Wow. So, it smells like a fruit roll. Back in the day, in the 70s, when I was growing up, my parents made a fruit dryer, and we would go and there was a special method you'd do, but essentially it just was a big box that had trays within it, and all you did was put it out in the sun. So it was just a place to to capture sort of the heat of the sun. And what you would do is put wax paper down. I think it was wax paper we used, and you'd sort of make the fruit, take the fruit, like apricots was a good one, turn it into mush and just spread it out on the wax paper, and then put it in there and just wait like a week or something. I don't know how long. It took a while, and it would dry out. Then you could, have these sheets of fruit, dried fruit. They were very thin sheets of fruit, and they come right off the wax paper, and you could just cut them into strips, or you could eat them just like that, which is what I like to do. And I can't remember if we added something else like pectin or sugar or anything like that, but I remember they were super good. And this kind of reminds me of that same sort of smell that you get when you open the fruit dryer thing. So it's got that stewed fruit thing. Oh, I'm just fiddling with it, and I noticed it just breaks right apart. So don't think I'll need a knife to cut this. That's good. Looks like I could just kind of crunch it together and put it in my pipe. So I'm gonna do that, but I think this process is gonna take a second. So I'm gonna cut and come back. All right, so it took me a little while to get this lit. I think it's because well, for one thing, it's a little bit windy tonight, gusty. So there's been some gusts of wind. So I usually light my pipes with a match, just the false light, and then I use my lighter after that. And it's not good match conditions tonight. So first impressions here, I was definitely getting more of a hay type of smell to it. And it's mostly that. There's a little hint of a sweetness there too, which is probably the type of Virginias. I would say it's a very full type of Virginia. Not super strong per se. It's not going to knock your socks off. There's definitely a nick hit here, but it's somewhere between mild and medium, I'd say, for me. But yeah, I'm definitely getting, it's just straight up Virginia taste. No toppings, no casings, nothing like that is coming through. And I'm not getting any hint, not even close to a hint of tongue bite. I can tell this sucker is never gonna give me tongue bite. I could just sit here and just blast it, and it's not gonna give me tongue bite. So that's a good thing. It's a nice Virginia, nice pleasant Virginia. Really makes me wonder what'll happen if I keep this in a jar somewhere for a few years. But I don't know. I may not. I may just smoke right through it. It's really quite a good straight Virginia. So I don't know. I'm not in the mood for Virginias very often, so I probably will end up in a jar. Most of the time I'm smoking Englishes, a lot of Kia blends, Oriental blends. So you never know though. Maybe I'll switch to Virginia for a little while, for just a short period of time, just so I can smoke through some of the Virginias I have. I also have some Bear Tupelo I gotta try out. So anyway, I'm gonna smoke the rest of this and just report right back on after I'm done. And I think I get the feeling this is going to be a nice long smoke too. Part of it is the big bowl, but it kind of burns slow. It seems like it does require a little bit of relighting here. I think that's partly just the nature of it, how compressed the tobacco is. So anyway, I'm going to smoke this down, and I'll come back with the summary. Alrighty, well, I had to move inside. There was some suspicious animal activity going on out there. So I want to just say that I finished the bowl. and it pretty much stayed the same, very consistent. I think this would be a good blend for any Virginia lovers. It's a tad boring for me, I gotta be honest. Just one note, I prefer my Virginias to have a little bit of pizzazz to them, like toppings, that kind of thing. But you know, I hope if you like Virginias, give it a shot. It's pretty good. And with that, I'll wish you all a happy weekend. Take care.